Welcome to this episode of the Conscious Business Coffee Break, where we take a few moments to explore what's happening in the conscious business movement, expand awareness, and encourage your efforts in conscious business. Greetings, everyone. I'm Stephen Donaco of the Conscious Business Enterprise, a division of Humanities team. And in our continued series on the Conscious Business Declaration, today we look at Principle 6. Business must maximize human potential and help create a world that works for all. So I'll start with the preamble to the declaration itself, as I always have in these last few episodes. And that preamble to the Conscious Business Declaration is, as a global community of business leaders, we are committed to developing the awareness and skills needed to consciously evolve our organizations in alignment with these principles. So today it's Principle 6, and Principle 6 says that business that sees, honors, and celebrates the essential interconnected nature of all human beings and all life maximizes human potential and helps create a world that works for all. Okay, so what does that all mean? Well, one, business itself is interconnected. Right, so business that sees, honors, and celebrates the essential interconnected nature of all human beings and all life. So business is itself interconnected. Business doesn't exist in a vacuum or a silo, and business and its impacts ripple out. They touch every aspect of our world, everything from environment to livelihood to economy, to our emotional well-being, emotional engagement. So just everything that you can think of. I mean, to even just walk around your house and everything that is materially connected to you and your life, and everything that you feel about your purpose in the world and how you contribute, all have some connection to business. Because of course, even our life's purpose is in large part dictated by what we do in the working world. So business absolutely is interconnected to all human beings and all life. And then we look at the maximization of human potential, right? So the business that sees, honors, and celebrates this interconnectedness maximizes human potential. So what I want to start with there is talk about emotional engagement in one's work. And the Gallup organization has put out a study for 30 years running that essentially shows worldwide 80% of workers are not emotionally engaged in their work. Gallup goes so far to say that it's a psychological state, that they're not psychologically engaged in their work. And when you're talking about that large percentage, 80% of workers worldwide don't feel a psychological or emotional engagement to their jobs. That's an issue. This is not minor. So, and if you're not emotionally or psychologically engaged in your work, you're certainly not maximizing your potential, and certainly business is not helping to maximize human potential. And then let's look at inspiration. And I think of inspiration and being inspiring in business from the perspective of being a manager. And when I was managing people, I didn't actively think of myself as inspiring them. Encouraging might be a bit more of a practical word for it, but certainly there's an inspirational aspect to it. And if we tie it back to engagement, having that emotional connection with people, and whether you're a manager or not, if you're simply on a team working with people, being emotionally connected, having that psychological engagement with others must be something that's inspired. So as leaders in business, or just simply as coworkers with others in business, how are we showing up to be emotionally engaged with the people we're leading or the people we're working with? And is that engagement inspirational to them? And then this leads into a nurturing and a development kind of environment, right? So I'll go back to my management experience, and when I was managing a large group of people, it comes down to being curious, like how are they doing? And the root of curious means to care, right? So do I care about the people who are on my team, and do I want the best for them? And the answer to that question was yes, absolutely. As a manager, I wanted the best for the people who were working for me, because I realized intuitively, and it would surprise me that if somebody didn't have this intuitive feeling that if you weren't emotionally connected with somebody, that they wouldn't be engaged in their work, that I cared, right? And if you care about people, they're going to show up for you. And if you think it's just simply about throwing money at people, I've had people tell me this. They said, it doesn't matter what the job is, if you throw enough money at people, they'll do the job. And I would say that that's a very small part of it. Certainly it's a major part of it, but psychologically it's a small part of it, because what people really want when they are working with you in a team or in an organization, they want to know that you care. Ultimately, they want that relational component that you can't put a price to. So as a manager, I also considered myself to be a coach. And I would coach the people who worked for me on my team. And not every person on my team had a long-term vision of staying on the team. And it was really important for me I felt, to coach those people accordingly. So if somebody had a vision of wanting to do more, going beyond this team and taking a role somewhere else because that role didn't exist on my team, as a manager, I would ask myself, what could I do to coach this person towards that goal, right? So coaching a person as a manager is not about being selfish, but it's about truly being selfless. And that is not only a courageous quality, it's also a very human quality and a very authentic quality. And it's only our fear and our questioning and our doubt and our belief in scarcity that would cause us to be selfish about wanting to keep somebody on our team because we feel like this person is the best one for the role and there's nobody else I could bring in to do it. Rather, if I have somebody performing very well and is desiring to flourish outside and do something beyond the team, I could do no more noble thing than that, because I'll trust that the next person who comes in can be coached to be just as high performing as the person who left. So with all of this, then business can create a world that works for all. And we look at that from the levels of impact. The activities of business ripple through every aspect of being on this earth. And generativity. And this goes back to what I was saying about coaching. Is business showing up to help people become their best, to inspire them and to nurture them through careers that not only are for their own benefit, but then help them to give back to the organization, society, and then ultimately the world. And there's a short story that I want to share with you that was in The Atlantic, and I'll put a link to this in the comments to the video. Just a small example of this principle 6 at work. And the headline of the story is that NYU's free medical school tuition could funnel more doctors to primary care. And essentially the article is talking about how in the United States in particular, that there is predicted to be a shortage of up to 120,000 physicians by the year 2030. And that reducing medical students' debt, their student loan debt, might help to fix that. So NYU, in doing this program, is looking to serve its students. It's also looking to serve underserved areas, because a lot of the shortage of these physicians are affecting more rural areas in the United States. So NYU serving its students, these underserved areas in the geography, and therefore it's serving society, and then the medical profession at large, because now the university's shift in its philosophy and its intention then ripples through the medical industry at large. And I just want to share one quote from that story. It said, "Beyond simply making it easier to pursue a career in medicine, perhaps removing at least a portion of the debt associated with medical school will also allow students to pursue less lucrative yet socially important fields of medicine. And if other institutions follow NYU's lead, that may help put a dent in the lack of diversity in a field in which little more than 8% of physicians are Black and less than 7% are Latino." So Principle 6 of the Conscious Business Declaration at work, just in that little story there, which I'll share with you in the comments. So let's review the Conscious Business Declaration principles from the top. Principle 1, we are one with humanity and all life. Business and all institutions of the human community are integral parts of a single reality, interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent. Principle 2, in line with the reality of oneness, the purpose of business is to increase economic prosperity while contributing to a healthy environment and improving human well-being. Principle 3, business must go beyond sustainability and the philosophy of do no harm to restoring the self-renewing integrity of the earth. Principle 4, business must operate with economic, social, and ecological transparency. Principle 5, business must behave as a positive and proactive member of the local and global communities in which it operates. And then Principle 6, which we reviewed in detail today, business that sees, honors, and celebrates the essential interconnected nature of all human beings and all life, maximizes human potential, and helps create a world that works for all. So there you have it on the Conscious Business Coffee Break today. On Friday at 9 a.m. U.S. Central Time, we have our next episode where we will talk about the final principle, Principle 7 of the Conscious Business Declaration. So I'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks to all who tuned in today. I certainly appreciate your presence here, especially if you regularly tune in. Grateful for your loyalty and your interest in continuing to stick with me as we do the coffee break. So blessings to you all, and we'll see you on Friday. Have a great day, everyone.